All right, welcome, welcome. All right, somebody's got something playing in the background.
Ooh,
All right, you guys, welcome to the show. I'm your man KTJ. Welcome to Love Coach Sessions Live. I brought some good folks here. This is the only place online where we talk specifically about dating, about relationships, about love in a mature way, in a high end way, in an excellent way. All right, so that's what we're doing over here. So, welcome you guys to the show. Glad to have all of you here, and my folks on TikTok checking in. Hello, everybody over there checking in. Thank y'all so much for coming tonight. All right, tonight we got a great topic, and I'm bringing my folks in. So you guys go around and introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are, and then we're gonna get into it.
Ladies first.
oh, thank you. I am Wink, Blink, and Flirt. I am otherwise known as Karen Jones. I am the midlife mentor. I help couples and women who are struggling through midlife and all the challenges, the ups and downs, the hot, the cold, and all of those groovy things. And I'm interested in being here to talk about this topic. Kel rang me up this afternoon. He says, here's what we're doing. I'm excited to be a part of this conversation. Thanks for inviting me in.
Absolutely.
Hey, and my name is Michael Moss, aka Big Man Culture. So I do custom suits for big and tall men, or pretty much men. But one of the things that I do know is relationships, not just regular marriage relationships, but also business relationships, the whole nine. But I, as a married guy, and knowing things in a lot of different areas, definitely can bring a male perspective about relationships.
Yes. All right. They said can't hear you. Okay, you guys, let me know if make sure. I want to make sure y'all can hear me on TikTok. Am I coming through? If not, I can fix that. All right, you guys, and I'm glad you guys are here. So I am KTJ. I am dating and relationship coach, known as the Love Coach of Atlanta, and this is what we do. So let's get into what we got going on here tonight, and we're gonna let it do what it do. All right, here we go. That's not it. All right. Here we go.
Been with my boyfriend going on 8 years since school. We've had 2 homes. He's a pro footballer. I've had my own business for 4 years. We have dogs, an apartment in London. He won't marry me. It's my dream, like a deal breaked the same as wanting kids. Oh, it's like a deal breaker. So if you're not going to marry me, then this is it. Yeah, like I want a marriage. If you don't want to either, I wouldn't have started my life with you, I'm thinking. I've set myself a promise that if by July 1st he's not proposed, I'm leaving. I'm finding someone who will. I'm going to Ibiza with the girls. His season will have started by then, so he won't be able to propose abroad. And that's my dream. And that means waiting another year if he's not done it by July 1st. Some people get engaged after 8 fucking months. So why am I waiting 8 years?
All right.
I got back with my ex.
Hold on. So you guys, give me your thoughts on this straight out the gate. Like, give me your first initial thoughts on this that video we just watched.
Go ahead, big man. You go
Yeah, I don't think I will. Honestly, the part about the 8 months and everything, I mean, honestly, I did it in 3. Like I was just in love, but at the same time, yeah, it sounds like that particular person's kind of twisted on the thought process of like how the relationship part works. It sounds like she's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's yeah.
Okay. All right. How about you, Karen? What do you think?
I think this is a common thing that happens a lot. I think a lot of women kind of go into the relationship without clear boundaries about what they want, what they need, and what their expectations are, and really finding out what that person's intentions are. And then it's kind of like that cork on the water that's bobbing and bobbing and bobbing. And you're the cork, he's the cork. You're the cork, he's the cork. Nothing's getting in the bottle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Bad business.
yeah. And it's a continual thing. And so, my thought is, in general, men know what they want. A man knows what he wants.
Absolutely.
If a man wants you, you'll know it. If a man doesn't want you, you'll know it. If a man is unsure, that's what causes the long period of time of waiting. But if he knows what he wants, he's ready to execute. And if you are what he wants and he is solid on that fact, you don't have to question it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to stay up all night asking your mama, going down there to read the crystal ball. Like, you don't have to do any of those things. You'll know whether a man is serious about you or not.
I have a question for you, Kel.
You got
Is
it.
it possible that a man can come in knowing, but a woman can kind of make him moonwalk back and going, I don't know. I came here for you, but I don't know. Is
Oh,
that the thing?
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. At any time, yes, a man can feel like, you know what, she's actually more than I thought. This whole thing is more than I thought. And I think maybe I need to think this over a little more. You got it, bro.
Yeah, so I would say that is true because there's either red flags or there's something that kicks into your intuition. It's like, Now that could be twofold. That could be, hey, there's something about her, or maybe there's something about me.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of twofold in that end because it's something that person may have uncovered that I've been holding off or whatever the case may be. So that can happen both ways.
Yes, yes. Look, and so you guys who are listening, put a 1 in the chat if you have ever been there, if you've ever been in that situation where you decided, like, you want to go forward and then something happened and you were like, well, maybe I should change my mind. Maybe I'm not sure. But you know what? Sometimes that not sure is the thing you should listen to. Right? When everything seemed cool, and then her mama now is all in the business, telling her which way to go, telling her what to do, what not to do, where, and she's listening to her mama more than she's listening to you. That might be the voice of the Lord speaking to you, telling you it's time to move on.
Hey, so real quick, that's funny. Years ago, my preacher used to say he would be driving down 85 and would see the lotto sign, and it's got up to the billions now. So he's like, man, something kept telling me. Something kept telling me. He was like, yeah, that something is kind of God probably whispering to you. It's like, let's not go there. So same thing can happen in relationships. Like you get there and you're like, like I'm trying to help you here.
That's true. That's true. Look, Sonia Green said, hold on, why is it just on the ladies? Mama's boys too.
I was just about to say, sometimes that gut, that first week, that first month, you're like, wait a minute, where'd your representative go?
Yes.
Because if it's not really you, it's your representative that's come to the table. And when your representative leaves, goes, whoo, child, I'm exhausted. I'm going to go watch the game or whatever the case may be. Now you're dealing with the real product.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? I still believe that it takes a while to really get to know a person. It takes a while to really get to know yourself. So just imagine like another person magically being able to get you and like, no, you got to go through them seasons. I always say that, it takes seasons for you to go through before you really know whether it's right for you. So some of these people getting married after 3 months and 6 months, and it's like, wait a minute, you don't even know how is he going to respond if he loses his job. How does he respond when your ex calls? You know, how's he responding to the pressures of being a husband? On the other side, how about her? Is she stepping up? Is she really what you wanted?
How does it look when she really just can't go home to get away from you?
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, speaking of how she looked.
Don't even start that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, this takes work.
Yes.
It takes work.
And how she looked when she take all of that off.
Yeah.
When she peel that wig back.
Right.
Okay.
But then that's a testament to, do you love the outer, or do you love the inner?
Yes.
Because the outer you can have a new girl every week if you really about it.
Yeah, I believe that. With the braids, with them braids to the back, with the looking like an inmate. Them cornrows.
Well, can I say something real quick? So, and I'm trying not to shoot myself in the foot, but I had this conversation maybe a year ago with the young lady where she was so focused on the outer.
Mhm.
Now, if I meet you in a public park, club, church, whatever the case may be, my first thing is not going to be, oh my God, I love your personality. My very first thing that attracted me to you was seeing you physically.
Mhm.
So if you give me a different person, if you give me somebody else, I hope we've had enough time to at least get to know each other or something, because now you flip the script on me. Oh shoot! But I'm just saying, that's the conversation that we had, and it wasn't necessarily an argument. Is that she made up a good point when you talked about earlier about the representative. She was like, "Well, my representative came, and the guy, or whatever we were talking about, like the guy was upset because like you changed it. He liked long hair,
Mhm.
and she had real short hair. So
Mhm.
it's very interesting that you said that and mentioned representative, because it's important, but also getting to know that person past the representative, you know how long that takes. So
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, Karen.
I want to throw into the fire now
okay.
who our ability to kind of move through those ticks and paces in our 20s and our 30s
Mhm.
should be a little bit different than when we're in our 40s, our 50s, or
Right.
for some folks, even their 60s.
Mhm.
How you show up at the house. Okay. I know a lot of friends who all of a sudden started wearing muumuus. I'm like, girl, for real? What happened to your little shorts and your t-shirt and you walking around the muumuu? I'm like, well, you trying to look like your grandma.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like you got to keep something going. So I think there's the representative, there's that downshifting that we kind of deal with as men and women. You know, it's, I don't know. I just want to throw that out there. It's like, does that make a difference in whether or not you start to kind of like do that moonwalk when she throws that muumuu on versus having those little short shorts with the wife beater on walking around on Saturday?
I'll be honest. I'll give my opinion. So second date or second time I ever saw my wife, she had on sweatpants and a white t-shirt.
Mhm.
I was like, that's kind of cool. You know, she's kind of chill. Not knowing that was her whole thing. That was, right?
Look,
Right. But that was the authentic person. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So if that's what you're comfortable in, t-shirts and wife beaters or whatever, stick to that. I'd rather have that than you try to impress me with something else.
Yeah. But wait a minute though. Well, wait a minute. I'm gonna push it back against that.
Okay.
Because I believe that yes, it is great for you to show up in your wife beater and if you want to show up like that,
Right.
do
whoa,
that.
wait.
Right?
Show up, or when you're at home after we've had you're hanging
Yeah,
out at
that's what
my
I'm
place.
talking
We're
about.
hanging
Yeah.
at your place. What are we talking about?
Yeah, as long as we're not talking about first date or
Today's
first coffee date or anything outside. Like if you're gonna take it all off, take it off slowly.
True.
Okay. Okay. If you're gonna be around in your sweat, in your lay around clothes, fine, but leave the wig on. Okay.
That's a 20s, 30s play to show up in the little shorts. That's a 20s, 30s play.
Yeah.
If you've been going to the gym, it might be a 30s play.
Okay.
If you have not, then it's only a 20s play. But no real grown woman's gonna go out in the shorts that you wear around the house on Saturday to clean up
Mm. Some.
out in the street.
I was gonna say some probably.
Mm,
You were gonna say what I was gonna say.
Wait,
mm.
as I clutch my pearls, wait, what?
It does happen.
No,
It does happen.
I believe, sure. Yes, I get it.
complete with the cellulite
It
suit.
does happen. It
Right.
definitely happens. So,
We
all
got
right, let me pull into to get into our theme for the night. As you guys, so I'm gonna get y'all opinions on this as you see this this article, this video. Hope I don't get demonetized for it, but we're gonna run it. They talked. I'm gonna stop this a few times. They talked about a few things that I think we need to have a conversation about. So here we go. This one's on GMA.
Has been pretty shocking. It was a shocking announcement that two major wedding retailers, David's Bridal and Bed Bath & Beyond, have both filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
And despite their financial woes, David's Bridal, one of the largest wedding dress retailers in the country, is telling customers that they can still count on getting their dresses.
All right. So David Bridal is going out of business, or at least filing bankruptcy.
Restructuring, yeah.
Restructuring. Is restructuring the same thing as going out of business?
No.
Okay.
No.
It does mean you can't pay your bills.
It means that you got that eviction notice.
Yeah.
You better be calling people on the phone to get it together.
Yes. It does mean that business is not good. Business is in the toilet. All right, let's keep going.
David's Bridal CEO Jim Markham joins us now to clear up some of those concerns. Thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
I guess the first question a lot of people have is, what led to all of this?
You know, it's interesting. It's been I would say COVID has been the big disruptor, right?
All right, so we're going to start with COVID. Jim Markham says it was COVID. What do you guys think? Is COVID possibly the biggest reason? Just what does that sound like to you guys? COVID, yes, no?
I'm going to be +1 on COVID because think about it. COVID stripped away a lot of formalities.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a lot of people would want to have that big wedding. If you've been, I'm about to sound like my mother. If you were shacked up with somebody, you got caught out and was shacking up with somebody, you could not go home, like the third date that never ended.
Mm-hmm.
You basically have stripped away all of the guys that's necessary to say, I want to have this big flamboyant wedding. And it's like, we can have our friends. I mean, hell, if you had a funeral virtually, why can't you have a wedding virtually?
Fact. All right, let's keep going.
Changing lifestyle, changing mindset, but most importantly, when COVID hit and all those events got postponed or deferred and that type of thing, it really shifted a lot of demand right into future periods, and it took up venue capacity. So
so it pushed demand back. People say, oh man, maybe later, and later never came.
For a new cohort, you were struggling to find a venue. And then you've got other factors that are coming out of it, right? You've got the economic environment.
Economics.
Engagements are reported to be down right now.
We got to stop right there. We got to stop right there. He said engagements have been reportedly down. Let me get my button. Down. Okay. Reportedly down. But wait a minute. I thought because of COVID, that would make people run out and want to get engaged.
Yeah. So can I give you my opinion real quick?
Sure.
So I'm on the opposite side of David's Bridal. I do custom suits for weddings, all types of events.
Okay.
COVID was probably the best season I've ever had. So him saying that is saving face. Him to find a scapegoat.
Yeah, you think so?
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wait. So that's good. We actually have somebody who's kind of in the business right here on the show. All right.
Right.
So you say that COVID was it really boosted your business?
Absolutely. By far, probably the best two so years of my business, because people kept getting married. They never changed. If we can't be together, we're going to be outside, but everybody's going to be watching it virtually. Like I made lines of virtual weddings with just those two or whatever the case may be. Yeah. So it's hard for me to say, because even from just studying the other larger organizations, corporations, their numbers never failed. So like, don't come on TV and sell me a wolf ticket. That's yeah.
You know what's interesting is this David's Bridal has been in business since like 1950.
Right.
So I think one of the things that they may also be dealing with is a paradigm shift. It's like it's not mass production anymore. I mean, think about it. Is David's Bridal really churning those wedding dresses out? Or are they coming in from China and then they're doing the alterations? Whereas with Big Man here is doing like, we've got the pattern, we're cutting, we're measuring, and things of that nature.
Yes.
So I think if people want to have a wedding, people want to have that personal touch, to have things more curated.
Yeah. Now, also, somebody, when I put this on Instagram, somebody said, also, you got to factor in the thought that people just order from Amazon and then take them to the tailor and have them altered and just take it from there.
That's right. You get it cut out.
And I think the competition has changed. Like you just said earlier, is that because now we may not be necessarily running to get 15, gray dresses, because, I can go get it over here cheaper. And the people that are selling on Amazon are from other countries, so their production is a little bit cheaper too. So
yes. All right, cool. Let's keep going.
And so all of that is put a pressure on the wedding industry.
Like many industries, it was sort of a perfect storm surrounding the COVID pandemic. But this is the second time that David's Bridal has filed for bankruptcy.
Second time. This is their second time.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this is they had a line of layoffs a couple of years back. And I know because a friend of mine's wife used to work for David's Bridal. And now they're closing stores, but they're restructuring, but they're closing like several other stores in areas. Like, what's crazy to me is they're closing the store in Atlanta. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, they closed the store in Atlanta. They left like 5 open in Minnesota. And I'm like, I'm not understanding that math. So is it they're saying that people in Atlanta aren't buying their dresses, or are we doing more curated, more, weddings that are more not on demand. I think of David Bridal as more on demand, whereas what Big Man is doing is really customizing weddings. Is that what it is too?
That could be the case. I can't speak as much as for Bridal, but I'll say the last time I went in there, what the other pieces, even though they're on demand, you still have that whoever was sitting at the table in 1950 is still sitting at the table in 23. Because none of the styles have really changed that much. I mean, you've got a few changes, but like a lot of them were kind of like old school. So one of the things that you look at, and it's no offense to, I think his name is John or Mr. Markham, but his team behind him are probably the same people that were kind of in the same boat. So now when you talk about shifting the way that the culture accepts those, dresses and things of that nature, I mean, you're giving me the same thing you did in 94. So it doesn't make sense. So that's, again, he's selling wolf tickets, but go ahead.
I think that's go ahead, Kim.
Okay, let's keep going.
Within the last 5 years, and you have said you plan to fulfill all the orders that are out there, but I would think that there are a lot of people watching right now, especially brides who are planning weddings, that want to hear a promise. Can you promise that if they've ordered a dress, they're going to get it?
I absolutely will promise. If they order a dress, we will get it to them. And that is I know it's a very significant statement, but where David's really is different, right? We have our own supply chain. So we are designing, inspiring, designing, producing all of those dresses. We have dresses in production right now. Right.
So wait. So it's not an inventory problem. Because he said they make their own dresses.
on
Probably
production.
coming out of China.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this much made, and then they like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basic economics, business economics is supply and demand.
Mhm.
The most basic. So
Yeah.
if there is a problem here, the problem can only be if there's the supply is there, they've got enough dresses, they got enough stores, they've got enough employees. What don't they have enough of?
Customers and demand for their
Yeah.
product.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
I mean, I know we had years ago, we had an aide who was getting married for a green card. And she went down, walked up the block to David's Bridal and got her a $50 wedding gown. And I'm like, okay, get that dress to go with that green card. I mean, I didn't say that, but it's, I think they're, you know how they say, sell to everyone, you're selling to none. So I think that might be a thing too. Like if they're not really clear on who they're selling to, it then becomes, you can't like be stabbing at everyone.
Right. That's a fact.
Right, that are going to be shipped in to fulfill customer orders. And that's critical. You know, when we did file and we went into court, it was very important, and even the judge concurred, right, that we need the ability to do that, and we will do it. So we feel pretty strong about
That's an important, and you're right, it's a big, bold, important statement to make.
it. It is.
So you're saying that even though you're going through financial trouble, you're still going to be able to continue to do business?
Yes, right. We have well, let's take that back. So we
My man had to pull that back.
Yeah.
Are you going to continue to do business? He's like, yes. Well,
He didn't lie. They put a promotion up for brides, like guaranteeing, there was a guarantee and a something else that if they bought something, they would get us something else. So he was telling the truth, even though he wasn't telling the truth.
Yeah. They sent the CEO out here to talk it up.
Yeah.
That lets you know. Yeah,
But it's a fire sale over there, though.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But
we do have
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
a strategic process going on right now that's been reported, right? And part of this filing was to give us time to be able to operate. And
They need time to operate.
Right.
Yeah, no, you need the time to get the right sales to get bodies through the door. Come on, man, stop playing.
and also make sure that we can do the things like fulfilling the dress while we complete the strategic process. So we have a lot of parties out there, a lot of NDA signed, you know, a lot of work is going on behind the scenes.
Ooh.
You know, our goal and our hope, David's emerges on the other side.
Yeah.
Wait. Sorry, I've been in this game for a while, so I've got NDAs as well with like professional athletes. Why do you get on TV to talk about the NDAs that you signed? Like, what sense does that make? Because the NDA basically says non-disclosure. I cannot talk about it.
Yeah.
So what's happening is there's two things that could be happening there. He could also be trying to sell that off somewhere, but he's also saying, "Hey, I'll promise you the world, but I promise what I have until we sell off or until we fail." Because they got NDAs telling people like, we're saving you behind here. We're putting all our money behind you. But if we fail, hey, I was gone. I was a CEO at that time.
Yeah. That's the plan. That's that plan.
Right. Wow.
What are you going to say, Karen?
I was just thinking about the NDA also pushes off the creditors.
Absolutely.
And it says that, you know what, I know you may be coming for us because we seem like we're insolvent, but we do have NDAs, meaning we do have big premium customers or promises of bigger business that I'm not allowed to say right now, but that it's out there, which is really an interesting kind of slickery way of sliding that in there.
Yeah. And why would he say that here on TV show?
That's what I'm thinking.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
That's crazy.
And is part of that looking for a new buyer? I mean, you're looking for a buyer if that happens.
Looking for a new buyer.
Yes, there it is. I got it.
What does the business model look like?
To be determined. You know, it will.
Wait a minute. What does that mean?
Wait a minute. That's so crazy to me. We don't have a marketing plan, but we're gonna
to be determined.
Wow.
Ooh.
continue as the entire store base or a reduced down store base, which is more likely the probability, right? But to be determined, and that's something that we're working through actively right now.
Yeah. As part of this filing, I know a lot of your employees are watching, probably looking at this going, am I about to be laid off? In the filing, you guys wrote in there that there was the potential for 9,000 layoffs over 3 phases. Is that the plan?
I would say it's not the plan, right?
He just said he didn't have a plan.
That's not the plan.
Goodness.
No, you know what the plan is? Laying them all off at the same time. 9,000 people. That's not the plan, to do it structurally over time, over phases. Yeah, the phase is you're done. We're gonna give you two weeks severance, and you're out of here.
Right. Oh man, I want to hear the rest now. How did he get out of that?
Let's see what he's got to say.
But that was a requirement, and it's really unfortunate because there's risk in every process, right? Will that buyer emerge? What will the form of the buyer emerge? There's a lot of uncertainty, especially when you think of on a store-by-store basis, right? And so we had a requirement. We had to notice everyone in the company that if it did not work to how we are, aspiring it to work, right, they potentially could be at risk of their job. So we did warn all employees, 9,200. It's a horrible thing, but it's a requirement.
But a worst case scenario, not what you're looking to see.
Worst case scenario.
Okay.
Worst case.
All right. Worst case scenario. Mr. David's Bridal.
Wow. So he went in 2 different directions right there. So it's not a plan, but then, however, we already told them that if another buyer, now mind you, they didn't have a plan, but if another buyer comes in, like wow.
Yeah.
He got shook on national TV.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
That right there is kind of like into the typewriter, into the computer, on Word.
Right.
I think that's your resume, because there was nothing about that made anyone think, if they worked at David Bridal's, that they were going to have a job.
Oh no, you're in trouble.
Either on this side of that insolvency reconstruction, and they didn't tell you what chapter he filed. Did he file a 7?
I think it's 11.
11. Yeah. I think it's got to be 11 to do the restructuring anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So essentially he's definitely tap dancing here. And he doesn't know what they're going to do. They don't have a plan, and they're hoping for a buyer.
And that's the CEO.
That's the CEO. So that's where the buck stops. So but let's bring it back over here. So is the problem a big man culture? Tell me this. Is the problem men? are men the problem because they're not asking these women for their hand in marriage, and the women are not having big weddings because, I don't know, maybe the guy can't afford a big old wedding? What is the problem? Is the men the problem?
So here's where you're not going to back me in the corner, because I'm not going to do men and women. I'll say this. I believe because of the way that the landscape of marriage has been painted these days is now one of the reasons why that demand is so low for David's Bridal, for all these other people.
Now we're talking.
Now you have and I don't want to call names, but now you have every reality show and every bachelor show that says, hey, I can get love tomorrow, and then all of a sudden now when you kick that person out, we just go to the next season, which is like, wait a minute, I thought they were getting married. I thought they were in love, and it's not real love. So now you duplicate or replicate those same shows in the next network, and your social media now is all deeply ingrained and engulfed in your body and your mind. So now it's like, what did I need that for? Because that didn't work on TV. That didn't work on social media. This super couple that's supposed to get married, they were only married for like 5 months, 5 weeks, whatever the case may be. So I say that to say, I can't say it's a male or female thing. As much as the landscape of relationships has changed a lot.
All right. Hey, Artemis, thank you so much for joining us. You could stop with the sunshine. Put all those things on the screen. That's a good point. That's a good point. Listen, we can't ignore the social aspect of this playing out, right? Let's be honest. If people were getting married, David's Bridal would not be in trouble.
I don't agree with that.
Listen, they wasn't in trouble 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
We were shopping differently. Standards were different 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You were cool with polyester. You may not be cool with polyester and crinoline now. People are leveling up. And a lot of people, if you sat at home and you had a chance to legitimately play house during COVID, and then you came out of it like, I really don't want to stab you. I really could live with you. Then you are definitely going to do something different because you had the opportunity to save the money and then to say the destination wedding or this, that, and the other. People are getting married in a different kind of way. So I don't think David's Bridal, which is a lot more from the time I went in there with the young lady who was marrying that 50-year-old man at 25, but I digress. The quality of the gowns, I have no hate for David's Bridal at all, but it makes me kind of say, if their constituency is the woman who's getting married and she's getting the Kay's jewelers, no slandering Kay's jeweler either. I'm just saying, hypothetically, she's got a little ring. She gets a $50 dress. And now she can go to Amazon and get that $50 dress if that's that clientele. You see what I'm saying? It's a different thing. I think we've got love. It's like little love and big love. You know, some people are leveling up and going for the luxury wedding, whereas those people who were going to the court or doing like the little thing in the backyard are not.
Yeah. So Karen, so what you're saying is that it's the woman's fault.
I'm not saying that's a fault way. I think for real, let's do some
It's the women's fault. Well, look, and we have to say it's the women's fault.
No,
and here's why, Karen.
Oh, no, you don't.
Who decides after the man says, "Will you marry me?" Right?
And she says, "We're in this together. Yes. Let's buy a house instead of putting it into the wedding."
No, she's not saying that.
Oh, for real, that's what you think.
She's not saying that. But listen, I'm saying if the woman says,
depends upon the age now.
She said, "Look, I've dreamed of having a wedding for my whole life." Here's the thing, right? For us as men, Karen, you never been a man before, so you don't know what this is.
I would have told you.
Okay. for us as men, we have one job at that point, and our job is only one thing, and that is to make her happy. To make her happy. We listen. Hold on. Listen to this. Our hope. After we ask her to be be my bride, will you marry me? She says yes. I say, you're the girl of my dreams. I've always wanted to marry a girl like you, and you are here. Essentially, whatever you want. Okay? Whatever she wants. And if she says, I want a wedding, okay, I guess we're having a wedding. And if she says, I want a wedding dress, and I'll take it from David's Bridal, we going to David's Bridal. And we getting a wedding dress, and we having the whole wedding.
Okay, perhaps I'll go with that.
And it's on her word.
But isn't that the parent, the bride side of things is where the wedding dress comes from? It is not from the husband side of things.
Once upon a time, that was true. Once upon a time, that was true once.
In a typical sense.
In a typical traditional sense.
Traditional, yeah.
So when I throw my destination wedding in Bimini or Tahiti or wherever, the dress makes you're putting more money into that trip. So I might say what's making me happy is we're going to spend time on the wedding there and come back to have money here.
I can see that.
It's a nice idea.
Yeah. So let me jump back into what I probably shouldn't, but I will anyway. So we're not choosing which chromosomes, which person when it comes to that. Here's what I will say. It's something that you mentioned. And this is just me. So I said at the altar, that every day won't be peaches and cream, right? Because it is very difficult for me to sit there and say something like, oh, I'm going to make you happy. Every day is going to be great. I'm not going to sit up there and lie to you because it never happens that way. It didn't happen when I was single. It didn't happen when I was a kid. So there's no way that I can sit up there and try to promise you that. Because in that case, I might as well bring a globe in and say I can promise you the world. Don't lie. I can't lie, right? So with that being said, and it kind of ties into what we're talking about now, if a man basically states that, okay, I'm going to give you everything and I'm not going to say anything, honestly, that should be a red flag to a woman, because you should have something or some type of leadership or something that says, this is what we're going to do. Now, let me skip back into the other part of it.
You mean for the wedding?
For the wedding too? Yeah.
The whole wedding process?
Forget the price. Here's the one thing I always tell people. Who cares about that 15 minutes of your life? It's 15 years that we're looking at. 30 years that we're looking at, but everybody's so focused on that. They want the big day, and 3 weeks later, 3 months later, you can't do anything else because you were so focused on the big day. Right?
Like Christmas.
Right.
Like large supersized Christmas.
This is all that is required of him. This right here.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you.
Proceed to the counter and dump out its contents.
But I'll tell you this, it's like for a female, I think that yes, that day is important, but when we move to the next stage, it's like, okay, well, I made all the decisions there. Now I'm gonna have to make all the decisions moving forward because you just said whatever you want. But then now you got a miserable guy sitting over there too, which is a whole nother that's a whole nother topic another day. But yeah. So yeah, that's just me personally. I was like, I don't know. I gotta have something to say in this thing.
Have you guys that's a very good point. And I think there's a lot to be said about the that part of the wedding with the him, the her, and whatnot.
Right.
I want to flip this out real quickly. Have either of you been to an African wedding?
I have.
Okay. Talk to me about what you, now I've seen it, watching it. How is that different? And I'm about, you kind of know where I'm going with this, right?
Right.
Okay.
So it's very structured. Well, honestly, and I think this is how it was working. It was kind of like the parents, the dad really had a lot to say. And it was all structured based upon that. And then the bride didn't really say much because it was always like everybody had something to tell her. Like the husband told her, and then the husband's dad had something to say. So it was kind of off, but I just kind of sat back. Hey, the party was amazing though. Amazing, by the way. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, that was my experience.
African weddings are an extravaganza.
Right.
They're not just weddings, they're an extravaganza.
Yep.
They're, everything is very designed, it's very custom, it's very couture in a handmade kind of way. You have very much, everything is very top shelf, very high end, and the bride and the groom work towards making this an amazing event for everyone. But the guests also come and they give money.
Right. Oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Okay, go back into the bride and the groom. So it's not just you've got the bride and the groom and their parents like dishing out this money. Point I'm making is the bride's dress as well as the groom's tuxedo is definitely made. It's not coming from David's Bridal. So everyone is having an experience. I think that part of what David's Bridal is dealing with is people, I think, I'm not married. I've been engaged several times. But I think the thing is, people don't get to the altar unless you're watching The Perfect Match or something like that. To say no, you don't go and buy and shop and do all this planning and stuff like that to get there and say, oh, I don't think you're nurturing. You kind of knew that. It's not we did this in like 3 months. So I think that I don't think there's any one pointing the finger at any one person. I think there are a wealth of different variables that go into this. And I think we are leveling up. I think people are not settling. And I think also too, it's what age are people getting married at? Because it is not going to be a pageant if somebody's in their 40s or their 50s. It's more pageant-like if you're in your 20s or your 30s.
Fact.
I can agree to that. I can agree to that.
You know, you might get that chic white sheath dress and got nice spectator going and the whole 9 yards, and you just spent maybe 150, 200, 300 bucks.
True.
Well, once upon a time, the general age for marriage was 18 years old.
18.
Damn.
Yeah. The general marriage. Yeah. It was 18 and hold on. No, I'm sorry. This was the authorization. Like you could get married. You had 18 and in Nebraska it was 19, and in general it was 19 in Mississippi as well. Yeah. Now I can tell you my parents, they got married. My father was 19. He was a year out of high school. Met my mother. She was 20. And boom, bam, pow. I don't know how long their engagement was, but I know it wasn't that long because they was in a good Sabbath keeping church. They was in a good strict Sabbath keeping church, and they didn't let you have no long engagements. You couldn't be engaged for 2 years. It was like, they was like either y'all gonna get married or y'all gotta break up.
Stop shacking.
That wasn't even a thought. So they probably I'm gonna have to ask my father how long they was engaged, because it couldn't have been no longer than about 6 months. Couldn't have been 6 to 7 months. Couldn't have been.
Wow.
Because they didn't play around. This is one of them churches, they call you out and everything in front of everybody.
Very Pentecostal.
Yeah. Truly, 100%. So yeah, so that changed things, but in today's times, right, there are so many different factors, right? Now this is a factor that I thought of, Karen, when you were just talking, just the fact that we are very custom, right? We are very custom. Everything is customized to what the way we want. Like all of TV is just what we want. Everything on your feed is what you want to see. Right. I talked to this one guy. He said, man, I open my Instagram and all I see is booty shaking. He said, all I see is booty shaking. I said, guess what? All you look at is booty shaking. And all they doing is giving you more of what you want. Wow. So if you're seeing that, that's what you're into. That's what they know what you want.
So let me flip that back to David's Bridal. So the internet and Instagram, Facebook, they do a lot of those studies to know the patterns of people, the way that they work, the way they operate, what they look at, what they view. David's Bridal only took advantage of social media to show people, hey, this is the ad that we'll put up, but they never changed what's in the store. So on top of that, now I'm trying to get to people, but I'm not changing my product. I'm only changing the way that I get it in front of people's eyes.
Yeah, the marketing.
My marketing. But let me also say something else. So now that you're giving me the same thing, this mouthpiece is now another marketing tool. I go tell that other person, and that other person skips the fact that they want to go to David's Bridal. I'm like, man, should I even get married? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying only David's Bridal does that, but now that's probably one of the issues that you have, is that now you're making people even think, or I would say females in that case, even shifting them away from David's Bridal or even marriage, to be honest with you, only because of the fact that that's the way their marketing scheme is. So for him to come on TV and just be, flabbergasted by just like oh my, and you saw his body language like this, he was moving back and forth.
Yeah.
That's the uncomfortableness, because he's like, okay, what I really am trying not to say on TV is that we're trying to get somebody to buy this so we can get the heck out of Dodge. You see what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
Somebody else's problem. They can come in with new stuff because we've been doing this since 1950. Why change?
Yes.
That's what they're running into as well.
That's a fact. That's a fact. You know, something else that can't be left off of this is the process, right? There's a lot of I want to say division in the male female in the relationship dynamics. Right. There's a lot of pulling in opposite directions. We've never had so many conversations on the women's side of, we don't need no man. It's not enough men. Like all of this conversation, like girl, get your bread, go get your education, get your bread, and then worry about a man later. And the problem is later is not coming.
Okay.
Because there's a certain amount of women that are going to end up without a man.
Okay. I think that they're...
Tell me what you think.
Take a slog, Sam. I think that there's some truth to what you're saying. I think there's some truth. I know that's surprising you. I think that depending, there are some people who are programmed. Parents program their kids in different ways. Some people program their kids. You get out there, you get a good I think now people have lost that good education. But there was a season where people would say, you go out, you get a good education, you get a good job, blase skippy, then you worry about finding a husband. Now it's about you create a life that gives you some type of legacy that you can hang on to so that you're not dependent upon a job or someone like that. And with that comes a serious laser linear focus that if you are up trying to run a business, pull a business out of the mud, the amount of time that you may have to sit, and I think we kind of had a conversation about this one point in time. When you're building a business, there's not the balance of feminine energy and masculine energy to build a business is very different. It's not the same as when I put myself out there. When I was a teacher, I'm blowing soap bubbles on the track of the Long Island Railroad in East New York. And people were like, men would come up and say, "Oh, you're not from here." I'm like, "How did you know?" Whereas now I'm like, if this doesn't have anything to do with it. So I think you may have lost a lot of women who are on their hustle, grind, trying to get to a point where they have something to share with someone. Because remember, you folks were saying for a while, what do you bring to the table, ma'am? And could this be a byproduct of when I got something to come to the table with, then I'll meet you there and we can have a relationship there.
Well, it's definitely something. What you think, brother?
So I think because in a sense we're all business minded, so we put our business hat on sometimes. But I think if we just break it simply down to relationships, like it becomes the male female dynamic is always there. I just believe that like there's so many different things, and I'll use that for lack of a better terms. There's so many different things that impact what could happen in a relationship or impact how things could turn and change in no time. And I believe that's where, and like I mentioned it earlier, it's the cultural thing that happens, or so many other things that can occur. But that is what, honestly, and it's maybe for another subject one night, but it's really impacting what relationships are, because the traditional terms have changed. The traditional thoughts about it have changed. So it's so many things that happen in that process of building a relationship that it's very hard to even get to that point, because again, we've changed so much now. If that makes sense. Yeah. And I think that's what throws things off. I'll say, use a quick example. So I just had a guy that got married 4 or 5 months ago. Just checked in real quick. Hey man, how's it going? Were you able to wear the suit again? Blah, blah, blah. He was like, yeah, it's going, man. You gave me relationship advice while we were doing, our measurements. Like, what did I say? He said, man, you talked about getting my, I don't even know what I said, but it was something about bank accounts and things of that nature. He took my words, threw them totally off, and built it into his relationship. So in my mind, the first thing I'm thinking is like, that's not what I was saying, boss. But again, because of the outside pressures and other things that are going on, and grandma and auntie and coworker now have embedded this thing in your brain, and now it just throws everything off. So I say all that to say, it's like the dynamics have changed, the thought processes have changed, which impacts everything else. Yeah.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. Matter of fact, I have a video that we have to talk about, because this is kind of fresh. This one is Ebony Williams from the Griot did an interview with Iyanla Vanzant, and you guys might have started hearing this buzzing around that she asked her, would you marry a bus driver? And so they got into that, and so let's see if we can grab a little piece of this, little bit of this. But it turned out that the piece that went around went viral was, I felt it was not as good as the rest of the video, but hey, it was good stuff. So check it out.
Yeah. So blessed to have you here with us today, Start here, something that we share. We are trade. You are a lawyer. You have a legal background, and as women in the law, Iyanla, do you believe that lens, that legal lens, informs our perspective and the way we show up in the world as women?
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I got out. Yeah, very masculine, very intellectual, almost stripped and robbed of humanity. It really shows the dichotomy between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. And for me, it just didn't feed my soul. And so I had to get out.
I feel that. And I do feel that I might have heard on a date or two, Iyanla, that we are not in a courtroom, Ebony. You can put the gavel down. And I do feel it can spill over into the way I show up in my womanhood, which is really the center of this conversation today, Iyanla. We want to discuss masculine energy, feminine energy. I do want to start with kind of a news framing, which is that women's rights across the country, especially Black women.
Hold on. So I don't want to fly past that. Karen, you are today's woman, right? Is anything that she just said, is there truth to that? That sometimes women can bring their business, their all the things that they got going on to the table, and kind of flex their muscles and have to be like, calm down. What's your thoughts on that?
I definitely agree with that. I had a sales job, a very high pressure sales, a series of them, but this particular job, I worked on a sales team I was the only woman on the sales team of about maybe five or six guys. And the relationship that I was in at the time, my boyfriend said to me, I can tell where you are in the sales process. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, because that particular morning, he goes, oh, you're going to get a contract. I said, How'd you know that? He goes, because you have a suit on. He says, when you are opening an account, you go in cashmere skirt, cashmere sweater, the skirt with the slit in the back, with the boots, your hair is like in a high ponytail. He says, but when you go to get money, it's an entirely different energy. And I was like, I never realized that. So yeah, and to that point, if I was in a situation with somebody else, I did. He said, "There's a voice that you use. Your voice shifts when you have this. You're talking business and you mean business." He goes, "You have no idea how that makes my winky woo just go." Meow. He says, "It just does nothing for me." He says, "That is and we call it mood killer." He goes, "MK, mood killer. You just kill the mood. That voice." Put that voice away, because it's doing nothing for me. You could be standing in the most incredible lingerie. He says, but the moment that voice comes on, it's over. So there is that sliding sometimes, even if it's referencing something, you can slip into that persona and not even realize it.
Go ahead, bro.
No, I think, well, going back to your point, I think that and it's not just a male and female thing. It's like once you're so much into your work or whatever, it does spill over because that's what you do on a daily basis. Like, for instance, I've been an entrepreneur for 16 years, and I don't boast or brag about it, but I had one job. I worked for the mayor years ago in Atlanta, and then the rest has always been entrepreneurship. So it's like sometimes I have to catch myself because I'm like, man, I'm trying to make everybody an entrepreneur. That's not what they want to do, right? But so it's not necessarily just male or female, but when it comes to I've had to catch myself a few times before, because it's like, okay, not everybody wants to hear that. Not everybody really cares, what things you're going through, because that's not in their life. That's not what they're doing at that moment. So yeah, I can see that happening though.
Yeah. So, but to the point of this whole masculine feminine thing is that at least physically, even for the female, right? She is supposed to be the receiver. Right, she's supposed to be in her feminine energy. The feminine energy is receiving, it's relaxed, it's creating calm, like, the making things well. It's not the go get it energy. It's not the let's pump, let's kill them, like and it can, like you said, it could be easy to slip into that if you're not paying attention to it. So.
Oh yeah, it's as a woman, when I have my suit on, or I was on that third call, I tell people, hey, look, I can take a yes, I can take a no, but a maybe makes me crazy. So what are we doing here?
I can hear you saying that too.
I'm using that, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's like, stop girling me. Talk to me about my money.
Okay, so you brought up a good point. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please go ahead.
So you brought up a good point. Now, this is me growing up in a house full of females, one dad, and so I shift sometimes on the female side too. But here's the point: when you said that a female is a receiver, that can be traditional at times too, because the process of how women think these days are a little bit different too. So, like, there are. Sometimes it's okay to be aggressive as a female and say, hey, this is what I want, this is what I need, or this is what I demand, because that now gives me clarity. Because if I'm an introvert, which is not me, but if I'm an introvert and I don't know what you want, I'm not going to ask you. If you say it, hey, man, you're making this a lot easier for me. So I would say in some instances, I wouldn't say it's always true with women, because like some of them are aggressive.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna push back and say she should never be demanding.
Oh, I'm talking about not in a relationship sense. That's not what I'm going to say.
That's what we talk about.
In
the business sense, yes, she can go out there and be a business killer, a deal closer, a crusher. Go do that, right? But when you get over here, and I turn the lights down, strike a candle. Okay. Yeah. I need you to back it all the way up.
Oh, okay.
I'm with you. Turn
all
that
the
down.
way. When I take my woman to the restaurant, I tell her where to sit. I tell her which way we going. I hold the door. Come this way. Sit right here. What you want to eat? Like boom, boom, boom.
That's harder to turn off than men realize it is. Because I remember being one of the first men that was from the South that was a door opener, that opened the car door, held my hand as I came out. And I'm like popping out because I'm in and out of before I used to have a truck, I'm popping out of my truck, running into sales calls, this, that, and the other, regardless of what kind of job, be it on Wall Street or as a drug rep, whatever. It's you have to totally shift gears.
Yes, it is.
And almost to a point of, I remember saying to somebody, I feel like I sometimes have to make myself smaller. And his thing was, you have to learn how to not be in a position, how do you say it? You don't need to worry about being known as the girl with him versus allowing him to be that man and then to promote you as his woman. And I was like, wait, what?
Right.
What you talk about? What?
Right.
And it's a different shift when you're out there and you're grinding, you're hustling, you're bringing him the bacon. There's a different way that I think now that women have to, and I think this might be a 2000s thing versus a 90s thing, but you have to work. Someone said to me, you have to be able to lean into your feminine energy and make that a tool that you use versus femming. Like I used my body, my wardrobe, my everything to get men, because in telecom, you're dealing with men. Okay. And so I would go in and I'd be, hi, literally, hi, I was wondering if I can make an appointment to come and speak with you. Like, oh yeah. And I get him like, hey, okay, so here's what we're talking about. So constantly turning the fire up. So I think women are really going to we're learning how to be more feminine in our approach in terms of the business, in terms of requiring what we want.
Absolutely.
All
right.
As you say, Kel.
Yes. Let me get some more of this video in here. Good stuff. This is a great conversation.
That's not who we are as women. It just isn't. And I think for Black women, particularly for us, the way that we've been programmed and conditioned and educated in the society to expect less, to accept less, to be angry and to complain, but to not really step into our authentic self, our authentic power as women, and create what we want, even if that's create the demand. Oh no, not here, not today.
Okay, I hear you articulating, Ayanla, masculine energy traits, the competitiveness, the assertiveness. Tell me how you would frame feminine traits. Aggressive.
Grace.
Aggressive.
Yeah, aggressive, not assertive. It's okay for a woman to be assertive. Grace, first of all. I think we've lost.
All right. Karen, is it okay for a woman to be assertive versus aggressive? What's your thoughts?
I'm going to tell you what I think. When I went to an all-girls boarding school, okay, for high school. And one of the conversations that we would have at dinner is, what do you want to be? Do you want to be an aggressive woman or an assertive woman? And what does it mean? At 13, 14, 15, these are the conversations that we're having at the table. What does that look like? And what does that say about us? Is there a time to be an assertive woman and a time that we should be aggressive? Is there really a difference? And how do people perceive you when they see you as, is it bad to be aggressive? The messaging that we have outside of this environment is being aggressive is bad. But is it bad necessarily to be aggressive? Give me 1 second. Let me turn that off because it's going to go. I'll be right back.
Okay. What's your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I would say that it's so maybe that's the word I was looking for when I said demanding, but I guess assertiveness is important because to me, honestly, if you listen to every word I say, then it's like it's a one-sided relationship. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
But again, the only reason I brought up the me growing up with a lot of females, my dad, big guy, but it was always take care of this woman, take care of this woman, take care of this woman. And then at the very last minute, it was like, well, hey, listen to what she says too. So it was like, okay, which one do you want me to do? But my mom was the assertive one when she needed to be, so assertive versus demanding, what I used earlier, is what I believe it kind of helps to, I guess, to be the in between of the male and female energies that are there. Sometimes it doesn't always have to be, go hard or go home type of thing. That kind of balance is also needed as well. So
yeah. And I'll say this: I agree that yes, women have to be assertive. Now, assertive is something that I can get with in a relationship, right? To make allowing the man to understand that if we're going to date, this is dating towards marriage. I'm not here to waste no time. Let's get this conversation out in the first, maybe even before we meet face to face, like just to make sure that we're on the same track and we're not wasting not 1 second of each other's time. Okay, this is what I teach with my clients is intentional dating, right? The whole process is intentional. It's a part of you coming together and figuring out, does this make sense for us to be together? I got one client, I asked, I told her your assignment is to go away, and when I see you the next time, I need you to have had a conversation with him, asking, now that we got all the basics together, now we got everything squared away, why are we together? What do we bring to each other's lives that we wouldn't have otherwise? And I need an answer for that, because there's no unless there's a why, and you understand fully why things are what they are. Why are we together? And if you can't answer that, then we got a problem.
I was going to ask that, to be honest with you. I'm always kind of thinking how that works, because 40s, 50s, a little bit different now, to where you actually, you still have to work at it. But I think it's like, okay, there's things we're gonna have to know right off gate, and I'm not gonna waste your time. You're not gonna waste mine. But how does that work? And you kind of answered the question about, you sent her away and said, hey, these are the things that you need to ask. These are the things that your assignment is to come back and tell me that you've spoken to this man and you've asked him what his intentions are. Where 20s and 30s, you were kind of like, okay, we'll just figure this out. We'll build a plane and fly it at the same time, So I think that's, but it's always interesting to me how that works, because I don't have to do it anymore, but it's just always interesting, let's say.
Yep, absolutely. Let's grab some more of this this video here. You guys, is my audio still good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I had to switch it out. All right, here we go. Oh, wait. Let me make sure.
Here you go.
All right. Let me know if you can hear this.
Harsh and hard way. Grace, compassion.
Can y'all hear it talking?
Yes.
Nurturing, nourishing, elegance.
But I can't hear.
How about majesty?
Okay.
How about divinity? How about holiness? This is not a language you hear coming out of most women's mouths, but they'll talk about being a boss, being a diva, being, in charge.
You got reverb?
And some of us are either not seated in our throne as queens, or we're in the throne and the crown is crooked.
Yes.
Meaning we're in the throne and we don't really know how to hold that place without the masculine aggressiveness and demanding and attachment. And it's killing us. It really is.
So in a recent interview,
Hey. Yeah, did y'all see that little breath thing that she did?
Yeah, that deep breath was like,
that's them little microaggressions.
Why would you say that was a microaggression versus her processing what she said?
No,
and
that wasn't. I don't know.
I would say if this were my seat, I would play that one back, because there's the.
I'm gonna play it back.
The masculine aggressiveness and demanding
look at the face.
attachment. and it's killing us. It really is.
So in a recent interview with our dear friends over at the Breakfast Club, that went very viral for very good reason, you said that women are being trained to be men in skirts. I will acknowledge, I will say I was triggered. I was a hit dog, and I hollered to the entire production team to get you here today, because I actually think you're right. I think you're right, Ayanla. I do think that I'll just speak for myself vulnerably. When I think of a masculine posture and what I would expect a man to do in my life, two things come top of mind, and they are provide and they are protect. And when my lived experience, and I think I'm still relatively young, I guess, but I'm 40 in September. So, you know, I've had some relationships. And I've yet to find a man who has shown, I mean, this includes even my father, who was absent. I've yet to have a male energy that provided or protected me consistently ever. So I think that I have taken on the reins to protect and provide for myself, because what I'm not going to do, Ayanla, is be without. Maybe it's not happening.
Be without what?
So,
wait. So we got to talk about that. So we got to talk about that. So what did she just admitted?
Did you see when she did the duck lips? When you played that back, what you guys saw, the deep intake of breath when she went.
No, I saw her like, I'm tired of this, like the what they call expiration. Aspiration.
Exacerbate. You got it wrong. I know what you're saying.
That's what I saw. Like,
exasperated. This
yeah. Like she's tired of this whole thing, but
or could it be she's tired of hearing the same thing?
Yes, and dealing with the same things.
Or this is coming from someone who's an authority now. Like, oh my God, I'm hearing this again.
Yes,
and so I guess this time it must be true.
Yes,
because when she said a hit dog does holler.
Yeah, and she said, and I hollered. Yeah.
You want me to be honest? When you said play it back, I was focusing on the body language, and it became like, no, let me tell you something, Ayanla, which is basically like what I heard from that language was, let me tell you about the bad stuff that's happened to me and the reason why I won't take it. Like, that's how it felt. Okay. So when you ask, like, how do we, if the microaggressions, as much as like the body language, it says like, let me, and you got one more, you know, I think somebody heard it down the line. I'll be honest with you. And I think
and she just talked about somebody that heard her down the line. Right. She says, I've never been protected. She says, I've never been protected, even from her own father.
Yeah, that's tough.
You know, and so she never had an example of care, protection, somebody, you know, keeping. So she turned into a pit bull. And now, you know, out of survival, she had to turn into a pit bull, and we can't blame her for that. So she looks like a poodle. She pretty as a poodle, but she's a pit bull on the inside. And if you mess with her, she just told you, I ain't gonna go without, buddy.
As a woman, I could see she's a pit bull.
She's a pit bull.
Oh, she's a pit bull. You can see as a woman, I'm like, that's B. I'm not trying to play with today unless I got my Wheaties. I have my Wheaties and I'm ready.
Yes,
she will eat you for lunch. She has that veneer.
Yes, and so the problem is she's eating men for lunch.
Oh,
and she's engaging men, and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, all right. I know you got your JD, you got your this, and you got your that, but okay, but you know, hold on.
Being an attorney too is a male energy thing. That's a big push at male energy.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Well, that's what Yolanda said at the very beginning. She said, that's why I don't do it. I got out of it. Yeah. What are we going to say?
So let me say this. So I just recently, maybe a week or two ago, had a incident where single guy, single lady, they're talking, and somehow I got in the middle because of whatever, you know, experience that I have. But it became, I walk away because now it's so opinionated. It's like, okay, this is what I know. It's very subjective. It's like, it's all about me, 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 me. So when I come back, it's this, because now you have two aggressive personalities trying to go at each other.
Yeah.
But, and not saying that she wasn't allowed to, but it's like she was so aggressive. It's like, okay, I am going to tear you down. And they were talking about relationships. I'm going to tear you down because of what you said. And it triggered me. She didn't say it, but it was like one of those things. And I stopped and I was like, wow. Like, so then she texts me. It's like, why would you send me over to this guy? Blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wait a minute. I didn't have anything to do with that. But are we addressing something that you didn't want to uncover today because you started this conversation? Or like, what's the deal? So it became very aggressive. So that's when I looked at her body language to say, oh, okay, like I get it. And you can read into that. It's like you can say, oh, I get it. You know, something happened. And we get it. And we still love you, but something happened. And now that guy, something triggered, and that guy got everything she had. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how it was. So
yeah,
I always pay attention to that.
Fact. Let's keep going. Let's grab a little bit more of this.
So that would be without protection, and be without the necessities of life.
Okay.
But I say that with an invitation, Ayanla, check me. Show me the error of my ways. Tell me how I might be missing it, because I might be.
Okay. I too am an alpha woman. So I understand what that means. And I tell people all the time, I was a horrible mother. I was a horrible mother. I was a great father. I was a horrible
That was deep right there.
I'd never been mothered. So I didn't know how to affirm, how to nurture, how to nourish, how to guide. I knew how to direct, how to demand, how to discipline, and like you said, provide and protect. Those are masculine energies. And the distinction here is men build, women create. So we know how to build. We know how to get to the external and get the work done and drive and push and do it. We don't know how to be still, create it, and allow it to come to us. And I learned that when I left. I learned how to create because I had already built and it all crumbled. The house, the husband, the job, the contract, the professional career in the world, stripped of it all. All the attachments, the necessities of life, the creature comforts, until I was stripped down to the bare bone. And then I had to learn how not to build is external, create is internal. And we as women have the power to create and attract anything we desire. But we don't get still. We won't shut up. And we manage everything through fear, control, and survival.
This lady on here preaching tonight, buddy.
She said we won't shut up.
She said you won't shut up.
He's not happy. Ebony is not happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not she. I think she's receiving the lesson. She's receiving a lesson. What do you think?
It looks like she's receiving. No, she's hearing it. She's not receiving it because she's already waiting. She's stopping to listen for her turn to get back, not to listen and let it go in. She's like, no, let me tell you what happened to me. Yeah, that's what she's waiting for. So it's interesting. I've never heard that side of Ayanla. I can never say her name right.
I never heard it either.
Yeah, because it's like that's the real person behind the personality or persona that she has on TV. Like
or what she has become.
Right, has become, because I've always heard her as like, you know, I've never heard her take off that guard or that mask. So that's interesting.
Yes, she's become that. She wasn't that before.
She was. I went to see Iyanla in a number of years back with my mom.
Okay.
And if you hear her, she'll talk about Rhonda, who she was as Rhonda when she was in a battered relationship. She was all the different things until she had to make a shift. And from at that point, she went from Rhonda having, putting the battle to now as she's gotten older, and she'll say that she's had to kind of ease into being a different version of herself. And I think that comes with, as I'm kind of thinking now, a lot of women, once they go through that upheaval, that hormonal upheaval that we all know is menopause, and men going through andropause and their hormonal upheaval. Once you get to a point where all the fights are not worth it, you start to assess whether or not what's important, what
important?
fights are necessary.
Yeah. Right.
How often do you need to be right?
Right. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Jeez.
Let me grab some more of this.
As opposed to feeling, knowing, and blooming or flourishing. Complete different thing. But since we've never been trained, we haven't been trained, we haven't been taught. So we do it the way we were taught to do it, which is very masculine in nature.
And very external. I feel that you are describing me to a T, Miss Iyanla.
She said you were describing me to a T.
A rites of passage program so that women, all of Black women in particular, can learn.
I'm gonna skip that little
head. The 30s
head.
have a process. The 40s have a 50s, 60s. We each have a process. Right. And if you don't learn your 20 process, you're going to be doing it at 50. If you don't complete your 30 process, you're going to be doing it at 60. And that means you'll be running on overdrive instead of seated in your power. Yes. And the secrets are there. They come from our culture. They come from our history. But no one has taught us. So me, as a descendant of Africans and Native Americans, I have a very lovely blend and mix. And I just, for a long time, I didn't do it because women in general, they don't want to hear. They think their way is right. And I'm crazy when I say sit down, shut up, and listen, and you can create what you want. They don't want to hear that.
Well, I want to hear it. So tell me when the sign up is. I don't want to miss it. Let me know when you're taking registrations because I am curious. I had a very lovely single Black mother, and I'm going to get to the statistics on single Black motherhood and family life. But she was, by definition, more of a father figure in terms of providing and protecting.
So that's how she got to be where she is. Yeah. That's how she got to be where she is, and having that positioning. So mom made sure she did the father role and to make sure she did the things that she needed to do. But she didn't get the nurturing side. So she knows how to attack.
Yeah.
She knows how to go face to face. She knows how to go head up with you, but she doesn't know how to pull back, how to rest, how to, enjoy her femininity.
But she hasn't seen that modeled.
She hasn't seen that model.
Right. That's true. It's funny. Iyanla's good at what she does because without her even knowing, she's really doing therapy with this lady.
Yes.
Now you see when she first started, hi, this is Iyanla Vazant and blah blah blah. And then as soon as she dropped that nugget, she was like, oh yeah, let me tell you. And then everything changed for her, right? So I guess the funny part is, well, not funny, but it's that she's good at what she does because she can just say it, but it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. She does it so much, it just spills over to her everyday conversation. Mm-hmm. So let's just use her as an example. If she was in the dating world or whatever the case may be, that she could probably just break down a man at no point in time because that's just what she does. You know what I'm saying? So that's, you watch it play out.
It comes from a life of experiences.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Good stuff.
And real quick, so that's why a lot of times I find myself in those conversations because like I've experienced life different than a lot of other people. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've been through ups and downs and crazy stuff, and even just not even just as an entrepreneur, but as a man and a person. Mm-hmm. And so it's very difficult it's easy for me to jump into conversations and bring a perspective from each side because I've been through the whole cycle. You know what I'm saying? I've seen that all sides of it. But but you get to see people, and sometimes when you hit that nerve at the right place, they come out with the real person too. So that's why it's interesting to see how she's responding. Yeah.
Karen, you want to say something?
I think it's when someone is preaching to you right, I think there's the going in. It's kind of like when you go into church and you're looking for a good sermon. You're looking for a good word. You go in, I got to be here, but when you get that word and that word hits you, and you like, Lord, let me get my money, put it on the altar. Like, it makes you. You may not have wanted to hear that, but it feeds your soul. And I think for her and a lot of women like that, there's that sense of I thought this. And if you're a woman in that place, it's not like you don't know, because after the fourth or fifth man who's like, yo, baby, you a little too aggressive for me, but it's you know it, but you're not hearing it, and it's just not really this the disconnect of, well, what's wrong? What am I doing? How is this not working? And I think Iyanla is in a position of being an elder, of having grown through and moved through some of these same steps, that there's truth to what she's saying. She can really, the notes hit and it's true.
Yeah. And so she moves into like she's talking to her niece.
Exactly.
Moves into like the auntie, and that auntie's right.
Yeah. You notice how when she started off, she was all, and then she just lowered and slowed her.
Yes.
She talked to her lower and slower, and talked to her just like that.
Yeah, you're true.
All right, I'm gonna try to get through this, y'all. I know we running on time, but I want to.
According to the U.S. Census, Iyanla, 23% of households in the country are single-parent households, and we know 80% of them are led by women. How does this affect the child? Both little girls, little boys, non-binary children.
Let me see if I can. Going to get if she's angry because she's alone, if she's desperate if she's not conscious, if she's not careful. I mean, when I look at the damage that I did to my children, not being clear about who I am as a feminine expression of the chief architect and creator of the universe. When I understand that I didn't know that and how to tap into that, and the damage I did to my children, who I love with all my heart. As soon as I discovered how off I was, I confessed it to them and asked them to watch me as I rebuilt who I was. And I'm still very alpha, but I'm in my throne and my crown is straight.
Okay. I'm looking forward to straightening my crown, Dr. Iyanla. Let me ask you this. Let's get to the logistics, though. We know that Black women are earning college degrees faster than anybody else.
All right, I think this is where I was trying to get to.
Like we're doing, Iyanla. We're getting those terminal degrees, those JDs, MD, PhDs. We also are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, along with Latina women in America. Pew Research said that women are now out-earning men in 22 of the largest cities in America, including where I live, New York, DC, LA, you name it. When we talk, and I know that you've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man, so I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes, they're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Okay. All right. Karen, look, I stopped it right here strategically.
And you know what? I have learned my lesson with you. I'll take that offline with you.
Stopped it right
on my behind.
Strategically.
I think there is a lot to what she's saying. I have dated men across the spectrum. I have dated the starving artist. I have dated the painter, the actor, the author. I really have. Conversely, I have dated surgeons. I have dated lawyers. I have dated investment bankers, and been in a place where if you weren't any of those, the latter, I didn't want to be bothered with you. But I think as we get older, you're looking for something, but she is right. Who is showing up is different. And I was on something recently, on some dating site, and this brother who's an Atlanta cop said I happened to be going to Dubai that year. He goes, "Well, why don't you take me?" And I was like, "What?" And I said, What do you mean?" He says, "Well, you make such and such amount of money. Why don't you take me?"
I think he was just joking.
No, he wasn't. And he told me he wasn't. So that's what's out there. She's right. That's what a lot of that is out there. So
yes. Go ahead, bro. You go ahead.
No, I wasn't cutting her off.
No, you're good.
Okay. My thing is, and I'll just be honest, it's like, it's always, well, man, it's an overgeneralization. It's like, well, the 4 men that I went out with, and now all these men, it just ain't nothing out there. The what do they say? The dating pool's been beat in. Like, oh my gosh. Like, but what it does, though, to be honest with you, and this is from a lot of my single friends that I believe are very good guys. Not saying everybody's perfect, but it says that, okay, I won't even give another person the opportunity because these 4 guys that I dealt with,
right,
they're just trash. You know,
right.
I hate all of them, so I hate every man. Well, it's not. Let me take it back. I don't want to overgeneralize as well, but it's almost like, okay, now there's nothing good out there because of those 3 bad apples that were out there. Then all of a sudden, now everybody's bad. That's the stuff that just irks my nerves. But that's
all right. Look, so we got to hear what Iyanla's response is to that. Check it out.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if he owns the bus?
Ooh.
If he owns it. If he owns the bus,
that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver. But we think that it's another human being's responsibility to give us what we need instead of us building together. I can build with a bus driver. I'd have my little stash over on the side in my prenup, but I can build with a bus driver. So I think some of the criteria that we look for in the reality of today keeps us unhappy, keeps us angry, keeps us imbalanced. And then when the men show up, we want to beat them up because they're not living up to our standards and criteria. And it's not working, beloved. It's just not working. So it's not that it's bad or wrong.
It's not working, Karen. It's not working.
Don't you even try that with me because I legit.
It's not working.
That's a one thing. My father used to say, we did not bring you out here to the suburbs for you to just go and date all these people from where, like, all out in these crazy places that we have not exposed you to. And so I always have said, it's about the inner, not about what your mom and dad have done. What have you done with that? So, but as a grown ass woman at this point in my life, I'm not trying to date the brother who's like any longer, who's like, well, I need you to show me. Why won't you show me which fork to use? You showed the other brother what fork to use, sir. Sorry.
So Karen,
we have done it all.
Can you marry the bus driver?
If he owns the butt, no.
Can you be
honest?
Loving?
I want to hear this answer.
Can you be in a loving?
It's on YouTube.
In a loving, healthy relationship with the bus driver? Can you?
Oh my God, I really hate you at this moment.
Okay, he works for New Jersey Transit. He works for MARTA. Okay. Not maybe not the school bus guy, but maybe the city bus guy.
Okay. All right.
Got a pension.
I think I look at it this way. Would I marry him? I would definitely date him. I would give him. I'd go out. We could. I have done coffee dates, French fries dates with people who I was kind of like, I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, even in some of those iterations, I had one brother say to me, I don't think so. You look too expensive.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that compliment.
Check, please.
Yeah.
Conversely, I dated someone when I was a teacher who taught and did not have the money and went to dinner. He didn't eat. He drank water.
Because he didn't want to
Couldn't
pay?
afford for both of us to eat.
Oh.
That was not a good feeling.
All right.
We don't do that anymore.
Yeah. That's a bad sign in the beginning.
Yeah. So can I be honest?
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. And there's no sides of this. I agree with you, because I've worked hard to enjoy the finer things in life. To be straight up, right?
Yeah.
So if that just is not your thing, that we this may not work anyway. Now it's funny you said the French fry date. I'd probably do something like that just because it's fun, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, the next one we might be going to Chops. We might be going somewhere else because that's what I like.
Exactly.
So it's like, if that's not you, then this might not really work. Because because I work hard for this. You know what I'm saying?
To that point, if you're used to going to Chop, if you're
Right.
used to going to St. Regis for brunch or whatever
Right.
the case may be, and you say, "Oh, we can't go to Four Seasons. That's a little too much," or "I'll go. We can go, but I'm going to watch you eat." What? What is that?
That would have been weird. Yeah.
Gonna watch you eat. Wow.
I'll just have water and lemon.
Wow.
So, all right. So I see the I believe shirt. So what it goes back to, the Bible talks about equally yoked and the way that things work. That's where I was really going with that. It's like you have to come to a sense or a point to where it's like, you know what, this might be wasting both of our times, because if you can't think of a process to where you don't have to sit and drink water and watch me eat, then what are we doing? Like, that's a waste. So when I talked about earlier, the difference between a 20 and 30-year-old versus a 40 and 50-year-old, like, I get it. I understand it. It's like, I mean, stop wasting time, because we need to make sure we're compatible.
See, and to your point, around this circle about would I marry, I dated someone for a long while, who was painting and writing and blah blah blah, and I was like, and we just had this conversation. I said I was cool to make sure that you could do what you needed to do while I did my business stuff, to make sure that there was that space, so when your book and your artwork blew up, we could be in that together. But that wasn't how that was interpreted. It went in an entirely different direction.
Yeah, and then, like, how long how long do you wait for the ship to come in before he has to go down to Amazon or somewhere and go get on the assembly line and paint when you get off work?
Go ahead.
It reminds me of the movie Roger P. Henson's, Tyler Perry movie. It was like Anarchy. No, it's not what it's called. Acrimony.
Acrimony.
Yeah. You remember she had the battery they needed to sell?
Yeah.
So she waited and gave up, and then it blew up. And now all of a sudden she's like, oh, this is what I wanted the whole time. So like, I get both sides of it. It's like, ooh, I gotta wait. I don't know if I can wait any longer, because I'm wasting my time, my life, my money, my effort. But at the same time, it's like, you marry potential. So I can attest to that. Because
do we still marry potential though?
Mine did.
I mean,
it worked out.
How old were you when you got married though?
I was young.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, not young, like I was 28, 27.
Yeah. 28 is different than 48.
I got you. No, I agree.
Or
I
58.
Totally agree.
I understand what she says. It sounds like redunculously bougie and just like, oh, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like, how many meals are we going to go to where I pull out my wallet, because we know what's in your wallet.
Lit.
You had dust bunnies in your wallet, you know?
Wow.
And it's, do I slide you my card so you can give him my card?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what? I mean, it depends on even with the relationship. I mean, because once you get married, for many of the married people that I know, they don't know whose card is paying for what. Because whoever get to the card first, like it don't even matter.
Yep.
Because money's money, and it don't matter if
It's
she
our
pay,
money.
if I pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now there's some guys that are like, she shall never pay. Okay. If that's how you want to be, that's okay. But you got to be able to pay sometime.
Yeah. I used to have this thing where on the first date, if I went out with a man, I would pay. And I would where we went, and I would pay to say, this is the standard that I expect.
Okay. No.
He's like, don't do that. I don't
do not do that.
I don't do that anymore.
As a matter of fact,
that's why we have French fry dates.
Look, yes. As a matter of fact, if I went out on a date with a woman and she did that, that would probably be our last date. Yes, because that right there is aggressive. That's not assertive. That's
what I did in my 20s, and that's what I did in my 20s and 30s. Now we're French fry dating.
It's gonna sound weird how I say this, and maybe because I was at a younger age, but like I'm a spontaneous person. So if a female did that, I'd laugh about it. Now the next time I'm paying, and then the other times I'm paying too. But like that would tell me, it's like, oh, okay, like that actually tells me something about you. To be honest with you, I wouldn't necessarily get offended, but like if we're going on the next date, oh, now look, if it's the first date and I know it's the last one, hell, I didn't lose out.
It also sent the message, I'm not expecting you to put out, don't expect me to put out. Took that pressure right off the table too.
Okay.
You're like, I don't like it. Kelso, like, I don't like it.
I said, okay.
No. But I don't,
But if it works for you, then you keep doing it.
But I don't have that time anymore. Right. I'm not interested in proving a point to anyone anymore. Correct. I think who I am is who I am. And when I walk in the door, you can see who I am. Yeah. You're not taking me to the Olive Garden per se, unless I say, hey, I want that extra salad all the time.
Hey,
salad all night.
Ain't nothing wrong with the Olive Garden now.
No, don't try and impress me. But don't tell me, oh, girl, I'm taking you to Olive Garden. I'm taking you to a spot.
Well, let me tell you, so that tour of Italy be hitting. that tour of Italy, boy.
God.
Let me tell you something.
What is the tour of Italy, though?
It's like three different courses.
It's the pasta, the it's like three different dishes.
Yeah, something like
that. Yeah.
So wait, and this is just by curiosity. So a first date restaurant would be what now, Karen? Like impressive. Because I don't know, man.
I think, you know what? I try not to put people on the spot these days. Whereas before, my motto was, I make a mean reservation, don't ask me to cook. But I would probably see something real kind of like basic, like Houston's or something like that. Real in between, get a burger, get fish and chips, whatever. You want to get a Hawaiian ribeye, that's on you, but whatever. It's not going to put people in a position where they're uncomfortable. Or I would say, grab a pizza or whatever, something easy. It's more important to me. I think as you grow older, different things are important.
Right. That's why I asked. Yeah.
You know, it's not, back then I was the person that's like, I need to know that you can handle your 7-course meal. You knew which where we're starting inside or we're starting outside. Wanted to know were you aerating your food as you chewed, you know, things like that. Now it becomes a thing of who are you, the substance of you.
Yeah.
You know?
Are you crazy?
Look, so I would say, if I'm asked that same question, I would say someplace like STK.
Okay. I like STK too.
Yeah. Now
but
I
Atlanta
say look, now I say STK because you've got all the elements. Like, you know, it's you walking in, they got the big flower, you know, things, and people taking pictures there. Stars might actually end up there. Like there's a lot of stars coming in and out here.
That one downtown.
Yeah. You might see Candy Burris come in, and you know, her and Todd, and you know, I saw Jermaine Dupri. Like you'll see people there. It's a beautiful atmosphere. They got a DJ, and the food is good.
Okay.
So I'm talking about a full experience in one place.
Okay.
You know, and it's not.
I like that. I have to
crazy
check that out. I think that would be a worthwhile thing. Or I'd probably opt for brunch, because brunch is there's no expectation on brunch.
Right.
What you mean by expectation?
Like okay. Here's what I've learned, right? What I've learned about men in Atlanta. Never take anything for granted. I met somebody, to following your advice, at Houston's for dinner. He ate off my plate and did not have any money to pay for what I ate.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, I made sure it was close to where I lived. So that way, if I need to make a quick getaway, it was like not a big deal. So that's what I'm talking about. It's like you in your 50s and we're struggling with $45, $60.
Yeah, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I figured French fry date, a little step up from the French fry date. Not going to STK or Chop, because I would have been madder than a wet hen. But anyway, back to what we're talking about. So I understand what Angela, what Ebony, she's talking about.
Yeah,
having been in some of these situations with people, between which fork do I use to I don't think my card's working, and you're eating off my plate.
Karen, tell everybody about what you got going on. People might want to follow up with you. They liked what you had to say. Tell them what you got going on.
Well, as I said, I am Wink, Blink, and Flirt. I am a midlife mentor. I work with women and couples on how to maneuver some of the mysteries and the maladies of midlife. What I'm going to be doing is next week, I believe we start with the Midlife Must List podcast. And I will be doing a webinar at the end of the month on all the things you wish your mother had told you about menopause. So it will be a half an hour, because women are clueless as the men they are with. And you can also follow me on Instagram right down there.
Okay. Good stuff. Big brother man, tell them what you got going on, how they can follow you.
Yeah. So I've got suits and custom everything. So I used to say big men, and then I said men, and now I've actually can say women, because I've got a few female clients as well. But yes, you can actually, I have an office right across from Topgolf of Howard Mill Road. So that's where I do most of my consultations. Everything's custom though. The difference is I don't have a lot of things off the rack, but I have a lot of lifestyle clients. So there's a couple of events that are coming here in Atlanta. You'll see me and my clients at Silk and Sundress is coming up. I've got I think 9 clients going there too. So it's a lot going on there. You can follow me at that same name here, Big Man Culture, on all platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. It's all the same, Big Man Culture. Yep. And that's me pretty much.
I love that. Can I just drop one more thing in there? Just because I'm naughty. We also have the Pleasure Collection, and Toy Talks After Dark will be this Wednesday for those of you who need a little bit more sprinkles on your vanilla. Yeah. You come through with luxury pleasure enhancement toys. So Cal was gracious enough to join us once. We're going to get him back on again.
Yes. It was fun. Yes, good conversations. But yeah, man. You guys, y'all know you can follow me everywhere, Kelvin Troy Johnson. And next Saturday, the 13th, is my official book launch for the book Secrets of the Mind of a Man. Y'all check it out over here. Secret of the Mind of a Man. Check it out. Yes, the official book launch is next Saturday at the Wine Shoe. It's a wine tasting event as well as book signing. Yeah, we doing everything. We doing it. Top notch, beautiful Black excellence. We doing it. Going all the way in. And so you guys can get your ticket. You can get it on Eventbrite. You can even look up Secrets of the Mind of a Man event on Eventbrite, or you can go to my website at lovecoachatlanta.com is the place where all the stuff goes down. So you guys, if you're still here, look, or you watch this, a lot of people watch this on the replay. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and stay tuned to us. We got more to come. Thank y'all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Next time, peace.
Cool, man.
Thank you.
Later, y'all.
Later.
All right.